Hello everyone, welcome back. Thanks for watching and happy 2021. Hopefully I'll be getting this out on the 1st of January. I almost said November. That's embarrassing. It is not November, it's January. But anyway, welcome back. Hope you had a good New Year's. Hope that you stayed safe and stayed inside. Okay? It's my first time experimenting with green eyeshadow, so if it looks like shit, then I'm sorry. My boyfriend got me the Child and ColourPop palette just as a gift, as a pre-Christmas gift. But this is what it looks like, so I wanted to try it out because I have no other reason to experiment with makeup right now except for when I'm filming videos. So you're also my guinea pigs when it comes to makeup, so I hope that that's okay. But today we're gonna be talking about my January TBR. I forgot to include a book in my last month's TBR. I only put 12 in there because I apparently can't count. I forgot to put Crescent in there, but I didn't read it anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter because it's still on this month's TBR, so maybe it's better that I did not include it. But anyway, I did manage to finish 12 books last month, which is pretty good. Actually, it's really good. I only didn't read one book, which happened to be a pretty big book, so I'm not going to be mad at myself for that. I would have been able to read this book if I didn't take so long to read Kingdom of Souls, which I'll get into in my wrap-up, but yeah. This is the only book I didn't read last month. That was on my TBR, so that's great, but we will be getting into all of that today. As you know, I want to read 13 books every single month. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to, and let's get into the video. So as you know, the first book is it called Crescent or House of Earth and Blood? Either way, it's Sarah J. Maas's new adult romance series. The second book hasn't even been announced yet. I know it's coming out in November of this year, but we don't have a title or a cover, so okay, this is the first book. I think there's gonna be 3 of them. So this is about, our main character's name is Bryce Quinlan, and she is kind of like a party girl, but also responsible because she also works all day, but she kind of has like what she considers the perfect life. Until one day when a demon murders her best friend, and as far as she knows, the demon gets put behind bars until one day she is thrust back into the middle of those murders all over again. And then our other main character's name is Hunt Athalar, and he is like an assassin under contract where he doesn't really have freedom yet, so he gets assigned to go with Bryce to go and investigate these murders and possibly get his freedom if everything goes to plan and they catch the murderers. And as we all know, classic Sarah J. Maas, that there's going to be some passion, romance, and everything else in this book. So I'm so excited for this. So excited. I know that Becca from Becca and the Books, I love her so much. I always reference her in my videos because I just love her content. This replaced, I think it was ACOTAR for her as like her top favorite book of all time. So I'm so excited. This is a chunky book. I think there's like 800 pages in this, and I'm so excited to finally get into this series because I've only read 2 other Sarah J. Maas books, which is sad. So, third one. Next we have The Final Empire, or Mistborn, which is the first book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. This is a adult fantasy, which I'm very nervous about. This is my, well, I guess Crescent City is also an adult fantasy, but I kind of know what Sarah J. Maas, like, her writing is. I know that I like her, but this is going to be like a dense adult fantasy book, and I'm very nervous for it. But I heard it's like his easiest book to get into, so I'm glad I'm starting out at this point. But this is about our main character's name is Kelsier. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. And she, and the story follows her life as a Mistborn, people who can use ingested metal particles to enhance their abilities both mentally and physically. And she goes on a journey to find out who she really is as she fights against the Final Empire and overthrowing the Lord Ruler, which is apparently the villain in the series. So I'm excited. I've heard really mostly nothing but good things. I think that Robbie from And Is No Stuck in a Book gave it 3 stars, but that's the only like middle ground I've seen. Everyone's giving it 4 or 5 stars other than that. So I'm excited to read this, although I am quite scared because, as you know, me and adult fantasy haven't really met each other yet, so hopefully it's gonna be good though. I'm excited. The next is Prince Caspian by C.S. Lewis. Is the second book in the Chronicles of Narnia series, and can you believe that I haven't read that entire series yet? A crime. Sue me, right? I've only read the first book, which I read this year too, but it was technically a reread, but I haven't read this book yet, so I'm continuing from that point on. But this is basically about, if you don't know, it is about our main characters, from the 4 main characters from the first book. I don't remember the names right now. Once again, nothing going on up here. They're helping Prince Caspian battle someone named Miraz and claim his throne in Narnia. So I'm excited. The first book is obviously a classic. Love that book, love that movie. I heard that this movie for this book kind of flopped, so I'm not going to be watching it, but I do really want to finish out this series and continue on in it, so I'm excited to finally do that. Next we have The Fire by James Patterson, which is the third book in the Witch and Wizard series, I think. I have not read the first or second book since I was like 14, so this is gonna be fun. I know nothing about the series anymore, but the first book is about two siblings named Wisty and Wit. Wisty and Wit. Say that 5 times fast, right? And their life gets turned upside down when they get taken away from their parents to a secret compound to basically experiment on them. And as they're being experimented on, they start exhibiting strange abilities and may potentially have to save the world using those abilities that they didn't know that they had. So yeah, I'm excited. I remember liking this a lot when I was 13 to 14. Obviously things can change in that amount of time, as I mentioned before, but James Patterson is a really easy author to read from. He's not the best, but I always get through his books pretty fast. I'm not really mad about reading that book this month and finishing the series out. I still think I have one more book to read though, or maybe 2 more. I'm not sure. And the next book is The Named by Marianne Curley. This is a book about our main character's name is Ethan, and he's a guardian for people called The Named, and his mentor is named Arkarian, and his apprentice's name is Isabel, and they are the only defense against the evil organization called the Chaos, and no, called the Order of Chaos. And the Named have to travel through time to prevent the Order from altering history and gaining power through altering those events. So I know that no one's really read this book yet. I know that Chelsea read it like 5 years ago and she gave it like 5 stars, but that was 5 years ago. So who knows how I'm going to feel about it. I've recently read Old Magic by her, which I did enjoy quite a bit. I gave it like 3 stars. No, 3.75 stars, which is still good, but this hopefully it's going to be better than that book. I heard that it's better than the other book, so I'm excited anyway. Next is Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them by Newt Scamander. This is just the part of the Hogwarts library books. This is the last book I have to read from that series, and I'm just going to get rid of them because I don't like those books. But yeah, I don't really have to go into the synopsis of this. It's just following a textbook in Hogwarts in the Harry Potter books. So yeah. The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stivar. This is a YA fantasy book which follows at the beginning of every November. The Scorpio Races begin, where riders have to ride and try and keep control of their water horses and long enough to make it to the finish line. Some live and others die, and one of our main characters, Sean, is the returning champion, and our other main character is Puck, and she never meant to be put into Scorpio Races, but she does find herself in it because fate hasn't given her really a chance otherwise. And she's the first girl to ever be in the Scorpio Races, and she is in no way prepared for whatever happens during this thing. So I'm excited. This is kind of like a booktube like cult favorite. So I'm excited to finally read this. It's my first ever Maggie Stiefvater book too, so I'm excited to get into her writing because I do want to read The Raven Boys too. So I'm excited for this one. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Alire Sans. Wow, that was a mouthful. So our main character Aristotle is a very angry teen with a brother in prison, and Dante is a know-it-all who has an unusual way of looking at the world, and they end up crossing paths and becoming friends, and they learn important truths about themselves and the kind of people they want to be through their friendship together. And once again, another booktube cult favorite. I'm excited to finally read this. I think that it is okay. I'm not sure. Either way, I'm excited to read this because I like looked at quotes. Okay. Let's go back into the past for a second. I used to be on Tumblr a lot, which would consist of a lot of like positive or like mind-blowing quotes, and a lot of it was referenced through this book, so I'm excited to read this. So I think that's the main reason I want to read it, because of my Tumblr phase back in like 2012, so yeah. Next is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This is another, I guess, like, is it YA? I'm not sure. It's a fantasy book either way. Either it's adult or YA. I think it's more YA, but it's about our main character's name, and I cannot pronounce it, so I will write it on the screen. I'm not even going to try to. Loves her valley home, and she has corrupted woods surrounding the entire town that she lives in. And her people rely on the wizard to keep those malevolent powers at bay. But the catch is that every 10 years he demands a young girl to serve him, which is a fate almost as terrible as going into the woods. So it's kind of following that. I don't really know if the main character gets recruited to do it. It didn't really say in the synopsis, so I guess it's kind of hinting towards her being chosen. I'm not sure. either way. Once again, another booktube cult favorite. A lot of my TBR is basically based on old booktube favorites because I've been watching booktube for a little over a year now, so I'm finally getting to all those books that I bought at the very beginning of getting into booktube and just basically like binge buying a bunch of books. So that's what most of this TBR is going to be, just so you know. Next is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, which our main character's name is Simon Snow, and he is the worst chosen one to ever exist, and his roommate Baz will tell you that as well. So half the time Simon can't make his wand work, or he starts something on fire, and his mentor's avoiding him and his girlfriend broke up with him, and there's a magic person, there's a magic eating monster running around wearing Simon's face. It's their last year at Watford School and Baz is nowhere to be seen. So this is another one of those books that I think it's like a satire on Harry Potter. I'm not sure. I know that Rainbow Rowell has kind of come under fire lately. I have not read Eleanor and Park. It's on my TBR, so I can't really form an opinion on it. I know that there is like some blatant racism in that book though, so I don't really know how to feel about this book. So if you want to educate me, you can totally do so. Next is The Holo by Jessica Verde. This is another YA fantasy book, and our main character's name is Abby, and it says when Abby's best friend Kristen vanishes, everyone kind of believes that Kristen is dead, but Abby doesn't believe that Kristen is dead and that she's just gone. Abby goes through the motions of grief and stuff, but once again she can't accept the fact that Kristen is really gone. And all of a sudden, around this time, she meets someone named Caspian who showed up out of nowhere at Kristen's funeral and keeps reappearing in Abby's life since that funeral. Secrets begin arising that make her question everything she thought that she knew about Kristen. So I heard that this is kind of steamy. I'm not going to complain about it if it is, but haven't really seen this anywhere else, but I just am excited to read it. I got this book, okay, so you know like how in older books they used to put like, look for this book out next, and it was one of those books that was put in like, the cover was like on the back of a book, and I was like, oh, I should read that because I was like binge buying books because I wanted to read everything in the world, so yeah. Anyway, that's how that is. Next we have America for Beginners by Leah Frankie. This is like an adult contemporary book about, so this book is about, our main character name is Paval, and she's traveling from India to the US because she's trying to find her son, who her husband told her that he was dead following his coming out story. So her son's name is Rahi, and he came out to his parents for being gay, but as they follow very traditional values, he had to run away to America because they weren't accepting of him. Paval is very resistant to believing that her son is dead, so she travels to America to find out whether he is dead and gone or alive and well. And I'm just so excited to read that book. It sounds like it's gonna be very hard-hitting, and I'm excited to read it. So lastly, we have The Fury and the Darker Union by L.J. Smith. This is the last book in the Vampire Diaries series, and I don't think I have to explain what this book is about, right? If you watch the show, then you don't really need to know what this is about. I feel like this is pretty much a popular book enough to where I don't need to explain it, but so yeah, hopefully that's okay. But yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Make sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.